Okay, Flat Rate Mechanic here, and recently I did a video on the code P0128, coolant temperature below regulated temperature. And basically I just wanted to go in detail on to why that code sets and usually what causes it. And to do that, I'm going to have to explain to you how a thermostat works. And that is what we have here is a thermostat. And basically what that code means, a P0128, is that your coolant temperature is not coming up to temperature fast enough. And what the computer does is it basically, when you start your engine, it times it, and if it's not up to operating temperature by the time that your computer is set for, then it's going to set this code. So basically, usually what happens is the thermostat sticks closed, and as you can see here, this is actually a brand new thermostat. This thermostat is closed, and on the back of this is a thermistor that actually will open this thermostat as it heats up. And what happens when that code sets typically is these get stuck open, and when they get stuck open, you have coolant circulating continuously, so it's always circulating through the radiator, through the engine, cooling as it's circulating. Now when it's closed, you have no circulation, so the coolant is just stationary inside the engine block. Therefore it gets hotter quicker. And the reason why they do this is the faster your engine can get up to operating temperature, the more efficient it is, and the less emissions your car is going to produce. So this is a pretty important aspect of your vehicle. It basically is going to regulate that temperature and keep it to a certain point. And on these thermostats, there's actually usually a temperature. It'll actually say the temperature on here, and let's see if I can see that. I'm not sure this one says it, but typically they open around 185 degrees to 200 degrees and so on. But you're probably wondering why they have the torch here. I was going to try and heat this up and see if we can get this to open. This is not typically the way we would test these. Normally you'd put them in a boiling pot of water, but for curiosity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and try this. I got my safety goggles on because, I mean, we do run the risk of running into some issues doing it this way. I've never tried it before, so don't try this at home, but for the sake of the video, that's what I'm going to do, so you guys can see how this thing works and see if we can get it to open. I'm just going to apply a heat to this and see if that spring tension is going to start opening this valve up. And some of them actually have safety mechanisms on them, whereas if they get too hot, they will actually stick open. That is in case you have an overheating engine, and as a fail-safe, it sticks open so that way your car will stay cooler. Alright, so I don't see anything happening yet. We'll keep heating it up. Got heat both sides here. Now this torch is a lot hotter than 200 degrees, so I would imagine we should get some action here, but like I said, I didn't try this off camera. This is my first attempt. Alright, and look, we got some opening there. Alright, now, yep, it's opening. See that? Yep, it is wide open now. Alright, now we're going to let it cool down and see if it closes back up. Now, I'm not seeing a fail-safe on these. Sometimes there'll be a locking mechanism if they open too far, or if it gets too hot, it will lock itself in place. That way it doesn't allow your car to overheat. But basically this is how a thermostat works. When it heats up, it opens up and it lets coolant flow through your motor, therefore in turn keeping it nice and cool. And when it sets at P0128, not getting up to regulated temperature, it's usually because this thermostat sticks open and can never actually heat up the way it should. Alright, so I probably got this thing hotter than I needed to, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take for it to close. But typically these are pretty easy to replace. If you follow your upper radiator hose, that's where they're usually located, right inside the engine block, and typically there's only 2 bolts that holds the thermostat housing in place, and you can usually pull those out and easily access this. Now after replacing the thermostat, you always want to make sure you run it long enough for it to open up. That way you get good circulation and you get all the air out of there, because usually after servicing your thermostat, you're going to end up adding typically another half a gallon of coolant once this thermostat opens up, and you get circulation again. Alright, so I guess we'll just sit here and watch this for a minute and see if it's going to close. Well, maybe I'll spray it with a little water, spray a little something. Let's see how hot this is right now. Alright, so it's still, I mean, it's still fairly warm. I'm gonna put a little water on it. Oh, yeah, we got a little water on there. Oh yeah, look at it closing pretty quick now that we cooled it off. That didn't take much. And there you have it. That's how a thermostat works. And then it's going to continue a cycle in the motor. Once it heats up again, it's going to open. And once it starts circulating and cools off, it's going to close again. Thanks for watching. Hope this video helped you understand exactly why that code sets and how the thermostat works. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up button. Thanks. Till next time. Flat Rate Mechanic.